What if the person who understood him best was the one he should never compare to his wife? Ethan never planned to notice the difference. He never planned to measure one woman against another. But it started slowly, in small moments that felt harmless at first. He had been married to Emily for 3 years. They lived in a quiet neighborhood outside Portland, in a neat 2-story house with white walls and a small backyard. From the outside, everything looked stable. Inside, things felt thinner every day. Emily worked long hours at a tech startup. She left early, came back late, and often carried her stress home. Her mind was always busy. Meetings. Emails. Deadlines. Ethan worked from home as a freelance designer. His days were quiet. Too quiet. He missed laughter in the kitchen. He missed long talks at night. He missed feeling seen. That was when Claire started visiting more often. Claire, Emily's mother, lived 20 minutes away. She had recently taken early retirement from teaching. With more time on her hands, she began stopping by with food or small gifts. Fresh bread. Soup. Sometimes flowers for the dining table. She said she just wanted to help while Emily worked so hard. At first, Ethan appreciated it politely. He saw her as family. Nothing more. She was warm and easy to talk to. She noticed small details. If he changed the curtains, she complimented them. If he seemed tired, she asked why. One afternoon, Emily called to say she would be late again. Big client meeting, she said quickly. Don't wait up. The line disconnected before he could respond. An hour later, Claire knocked at the door with a casserole dish in her hands. I made too much, she smiled. Thought you two might enjoy it. Ethan invited her in. The house felt less empty with her inside. They ate at the kitchen counter. She asked about his latest design project. She listened carefully. Not distracted. Not rushing him. You're talented, Ethan, she said gently. Emily is lucky. He hadn't heard words like that in a long time. He brushed it off with a laugh, but something warm settled in his chest. That night, after Claire left, Emily came home exhausted. She barely touched the food. I'm going to shower, she muttered. Later, she fell asleep with her phone still in her hand. Ethan lay awake beside her, staring at the ceiling. He hated the thought forming in his mind. But it came anyway. Claire notices me. Emily doesn't anymore. He pushed the thought away. It felt wrong. Disloyal. But once a comparison begins, it's hard to stop. Over the next weeks, Claire's visits continued. Sometimes she texted first. Sometimes she surprised him. They talked about simple things, music from the 90s, old movies, gardening tips. She shared stories about Emily as a child. Ethan laughed more during those afternoons than he had in months. One rainy evening, the power went out across the neighborhood. Emily was still at work. Ethan lit candles and waited. The storm was loud, wind shaking the windows. Another knock came. Claire stood outside with an umbrella and a small lantern. I figured you might need light, she said. They sat in the living room while rain tapped against the glass. Candlelight softened the room. The moment felt calm, almost intimate, but not in a way that crossed a line. Not yet. She used to hate storms, Claire said softly, looking toward the dark staircase. Emily would crawl into my bed whenever thunder hit. Ethan smiled. She still does, in her own way. Claire studied him carefully. You care about her deeply. I do, he answered honestly. Then don't let silence grow between you, she said. The words struck him. Silence had already grown. It filled the space between him and his wife every day. Sometimes I don't know how to reach her, he admitted. Claire didn't judge him. She didn't defend Emily either. She simply listened. That happens in marriage, she said. People get busy. But loneliness is dangerous if you ignore it. The sentence lingered long after the power returned. Later that week, Emily left for a 3-day conference in San Francisco. She kissed his cheek quickly at the airport drop-off. Text me, she said, already checking her email. The house felt empty again. That evening, Claire sent a message. How are you holding up? He stared at the phone longer than he should have. Fine. He typed. A few seconds passed. If you need company, I'm around. He hesitated. This was normal. She was family. It wasn't strange. Coffee? He replied. She arrived with takeout and a warm smile. They ate in the kitchen, talking about everything except the obvious distance in his marriage. Claire looked relaxed. Comfortable. Present. You shouldn't feel alone, she said quietly at one point. He met her eyes. I don't want to sound ungrateful. You're not, she replied. You're human. The word felt like permission. A small shift happened that night. Nothing dramatic. No inappropriate touch. No secret confession. Just a feeling that the connection between them was growing stronger than it should. When she stood to leave, she placed her hand lightly on his arm. Take care of yourself, Ethan. The touch lasted a second longer than necessary. After she left, he stood in the silent house, heart beating faster than usual. He loved his wife. He respected his marriage, but something had begun, not physical, not spoken, just a comparison he never meant to make. And once a man starts comparing comfort to commitment, the line between loyalty and longing becomes harder to see. How far can a connection go before it becomes a betrayal? Emily's trip was extended by 2 more days. A last-minute meeting, she said. Her voice over the phone sounded distant, rushed. Ethan told her it was fine. He said he understood. After the call ended, the silence in the house felt louder than before. Claire texted again that evening. Storm coming tonight. Need anything? He stared at the message. He knew he could say no. He knew he should create space. Instead, he typed, I'm okay. Just quiet here. A minute later, she replied. Quiet can be heavy. I'll drop off some soup. She arrived just before the rain started. The sky was dark, wind bending the trees in the yard. Claire stepped inside, shaking water from her umbrella. She wore a simple sweater and jeans. Nothing special. But Ethan noticed her in a way he hadn't before. They sat at the kitchen table again. Steam rose from the soup bowls. The house felt warmer with her presence. Emily called me earlier, Claire said carefully. She sounds tired. She is, Ethan replied, and you? He hesitated. I'm trying. Claire studied him. Trying what? To stay patient. To not feel forgotten. The word slipped out before he could stop it. Claire's expression softened. She doesn't forget you. She's chasing something right now. Success. Stability. And where do I fit into that? He asked quietly. The rain hit harder against the windows. You fit where you've always fit, Claire said. But sometimes people don't show love the way we need. Her words felt too accurate. The lights flickered. Thunder rolled across the sky. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Claire said something unexpected. My marriage wasn't always steady either. Ethan looked up. There were years, she continued, when I felt invisible. He leaned back slightly. What changed? I stopped pretending everything was fine. Her honesty surprised him. Claire always seemed composed. Strong. Seeing this softer side made her feel more real. Did you ever think about leaving? He asked. She paused. Once. A long time ago. The confession hung in the air. Why didn't you? He pressed gently. Because sometimes what feels missing can be rebuilt, she said. If both people try. The storm outside felt smaller than the storm forming inside him. When dinner ended, Claire stood to wash the dishes. Ethan joined her. Their hands brushed near the sink. Neither moved away immediately. It was small. But noticeable. He stepped back. First, I don't want to cross any lines, he said quietly. Claire froze for a second, then turned to face him. Neither do I. The air between them shifted. The truth was now spoken. I care about you, she admitted. Because you're my daughter's husband. And because you're a good man. He nodded. I care about you too. Silence. but caring can become confusing, she added softly. The sentence landed heavily. A loud crack of thunder startled them both. Instinctively, Claire reached for his arm. This time, he didn't pull away right away. He looked down at her hand resting on him. Their eyes met. The moment stretched longer than it should have. Claire slowly removed her hand. "This is exactly how it starts," she whispered. "How what starts?" he asked, even though he knew. "Emotional dependence," she said. "And that can be just as damaging." The honesty cut through whatever illusion had been building. Ethan ran a hand through his hair. "I don't want to hurt Emily." "Then don't," Claire replied firmly. He looked at her. "But I can't pretend I don't feel something shifting." She didn't deny it. "I feel it too," she admitted. The room felt too small suddenly. They both understood something important at that moment. This wasn't about physical attraction. It was about emotional comfort. Loneliness meeting loneliness. Two people filling empty spaces, and that made it even more dangerous. Claire stepped back. "I should go." He nodded, but part of him didn't want her to leave. At the door, she paused. "Ethan, listen to me carefully," she said. "You're at a crossroads. If you lean into this feeling, even emotionally, you risk everything." "Everything?" he repeated. "Your marriage. My relationship with my daughter. Our family." The weight of those words hit hard, but ignoring feelings doesn't make them disappear, he argued softly. "No," she agreed. "But acting on them makes them real." After she left, the house felt colder. He sat on the couch replaying every moment. The touch. The eye contact. The confessions. Nothing inappropriate had happened, but something had definitely changed. The next morning, Emily called again. She sounded excited about her meetings. "I might get promoted," she said. "That's great," he replied honestly, but as she spoke, he realized something painful. He had stopped sharing his feelings with her. He had started sharing them with someone else. Later that day, Claire didn't text, neither did he. The silence between them felt intentional. That evening, he received a short message from her. *, "We need boundaries. For everyone's sake, *, he stared at the screen. He typed, "You're right." Another pause, then she added, "But that doesn't mean what we felt wasn't real." His heart pounded. It was the first time she admitted it so clearly. He didn't respond immediately. He couldn't find safe words. Finally, he wrote, "Real doesn't always mean right." 3 dots appeared on the screen. Then disappeared. No reply came. For the first time, he understood the risk fully. Not because something dramatic had happened, but because it hadn't, yet. He stood at the kitchen window, watching the rain fade into a gray evening. He loved his wife. He respected his family, but he also felt seen in a way he hadn't in years, and as the quiet house wrapped around him again, one question refused to leave his mind. If emotional loyalty is broken first, how long before everything else follows? Can you fix a marriage while hiding a truth inside your heart? Emily came home on Sunday evening. The house felt different the moment she stepped inside. She hugged Ethan tightly, longer than usual. For a second, he felt relief. Maybe things could return to normal. Maybe distance had just been temporary, but normal didn't come back. She unpacked while talking about her meetings, her possible promotion, her busy week ahead. Ethan listened, but something in him had changed. He had started measuring moments. Comparing attention. Weighing silence. That night, Emily reached for his hand in bed. "I've missed you," she whispered. He squeezed her fingers. "I've missed you too." The words were true, but they carried guilt. The next morning, Claire did not text. She kept her promise about boundaries. Days passed without messages. No visits. No casual check-ins. The absence felt intentional. Ethan told himself it was good. Necessary. Healthy, but the quiet between him and Claire felt heavier than before. On Wednesday evening, Emily sat across from him at dinner and studied his face. "You've been distant," she said calmly. "I have?" he asked, trying to sound natural. "Yes." She folded her arms slightly. "You're here, but not fully." He forced a small smile. "Work stress." She didn't look convinced. Later that night, as Emily showered, his phone buzzed. His heart jumped before he even looked. It was Claire. I hope you're both doing well. Just that. Simple. Polite. He stared at the screen. He could ignore it. He knew he should. Instead, he typed, "We're fine." A minute later, she replied, "Good, nothing else." But even that short exchange felt dangerous now. The next weekend, Emily suggested dinner at her parents' house. "Dad's back from traveling," she said. "We should go." Ethan's chest tightened. He hadn't seen Claire since that last message. At the house, everything looked normal. Claire greeted them warmly. Her husband, Richard, shook Ethan's hand firmly. The table was set. Candles lit. Soft music playing. Claire moved through the kitchen with calm confidence. She laughed at Richard's jokes. She asked Emily about work. She barely looked at Ethan. The distance was sharp. During dinner, Emily mentioned her possible promotion. Everyone congratulated her. Claire smiled proudly. "You've always been driven," she said. Ethan watched mother and daughter carefully. They looked similar. Same eyes. Same laugh. But lately, Claire seemed steadier. Softer. He hated the comparison. Returning, after dinner, Emily went upstairs to grab an old photo album. Richard stepped outside to take a call. Suddenly, Ethan and Claire stood alone in the kitchen. The air felt charged. "You look tired," Claire said quietly. "So do you," he replied. She held his gaze for only a second. This was a mistake. "What was?" he asked, letting emotions blur. She answered. He nodded slowly. "I know. Emily deserves better," she added. The name felt heavy between them. "I never meant for it to happen," he said. "Neither did I." Silence. He wanted to ask if she missed their talks. If she felt the same emptiness. But he stopped himself. Claire took a step back. "We have to protect this family." Before he could respond, Emily's footsteps echoed down the stairs. The moment ended. On the drive home, Emily stared out the window. "Mom seemed quiet tonight," she said. "Maybe she's tired," Ethan replied. "Or maybe she's worried," Emily added thoughtfully. "Worried about what?" She turned to him. "About us." His grip tightened on the steering wheel. "What makes you say that?" he asked. "She keeps asking if we're okay," Emily said. "Are we?" The question felt heavier than before. "Yes," he said automatically, but this time, Emily didn't look convinced. That night, she stayed awake longer than usual. 2 days later, Claire sent another message. "We shouldn't text anymore unless it's about family plans." He read it 3 times. It felt final. He replied, "You're right." He put his phone down and tried to focus on work. But his mind kept replaying small moments. Candlelight during the storm. The touch near the sink. The quiet understanding. Nothing physical had happened, but emotionally, lines had blurred. On Friday evening, Emily came home early. She looked serious. "I need honesty," she said, sitting across from him. His heart pounded. "Have you been unhappy?" she asked. The question felt sharp. "I've felt lonely," he admitted carefully. She swallowed. "Because of me?" "Because of distance," he said. She nodded slowly. "I've been so focused on work. I thought I was doing it for us." "I know," he replied. Tears filled her eyes. "Did you ever think about someone else?" The room felt smaller. He could lie. It would be easier, but something in him was tired of pretending. "I leaned on your mom emotionally," he said quietly. Emily froze. "What does that mean?" she asked. "It means I talked to her about things I should have talked to you about." Silence fell heavy between them. "Did something happen?" she whispered. "No," he said quickly. "Nothing physical. Nothing like that." But even he knew emotional closeness could hurt just as much. Emily stood up slowly. "My own mother?" "It wasn't planned," he said. "It just grew." She looked at him like she didn't recognize him. "I trusted both of you," she said softly. The pain in her voice hit harder than anger would have. "I'm telling you because I don't want secrets," he added. She turned away, wiping tears. "I need space," she said. "Are you leaving?" he asked. "For a few days," she replied. "To think." She packed a small bag quietly. No yelling. No drama. Just heartbreak and silence. When the door closed behind her, the house felt emptier than ever. His phone buzzed again. A message from Claire. Emily just called me. His breath stopped. She told me everything. Another message appeared. We've hurt her. He stared at the screen, heart racing, and as the reality settled in, that the truth was no longer hidden, he realized something terrifying. The emotional line they thought they could control had finally broken, and now nothing would ever feel simple again. When the truth is finally exposed, do you protect love, or face the consequences? The house felt hollow after Emily left. Ethan stood in the quiet living room, staring at the door long after it closed. He had imagined many endings, but not this one. Not this calm, painful silence. His phone rested in his hand, Claire's last message still glowing on the screen. We've heard her. Minutes later, it rang. Claire. He answered without speaking. She's at my house, Claire said, her voice strained. She's crying. His chest tightened. Is she okay? She's heartbroken, Claire replied softly. And she feels betrayed by both of us. He closed his eyes. I never wanted this. Neither did I, she said. But intention doesn't erase impact. Silence stretched between them. No comfort now. Only responsibility. What do we do? He asked quietly. Claire took a breath. We stop. The word landed heavy. Completely, she continued. No more private talks. No more messages. We fix what we damaged. He knew she was right. But hearing it felt like losing something real. I'll tell Richard, Claire added suddenly. Ethan's eyes opened. Are you sure? I won't lie to my husband, she said firmly. Secrets grow. We've already seen that. He respected her for that. Even now, later that night, he sat alone in the dark. Memories played in his mind like scenes from another life. The storm. The quiet dinners. The gentle understanding. It had never turned physical. But emotionally, it had crossed lines, and emotional betrayal leaves marks. The next morning, Emily sent a short message. We need to talk. Counseling. If there's any chance. Hope flickered inside him. Yes. He replied immediately. That afternoon, Claire called again. Her voice sounded tired but steady. I told Richard everything, she said. How did he react? Ethan asked. He was hurt, she admitted. But he appreciated honesty. Ethan felt a strange mix of relief and shame. He said something important, Claire continued. He said loneliness is a signal, not a solution. The sentence stayed with him. I'm sorry, Ethan said quietly. I know, Claire replied. But sorry isn't enough. We rebuild or we lose everything. That evening, Emily returned briefly to pick up more clothes. The air between them felt fragile. I talked to Mom, she said carefully. No. She told Dad too. He nodded. Emily studied his face. Do you love her? The question hit deep. No, he answered honestly. I was drawn to how she made me feel. That's not the same as love. Emily swallowed. And me? He stepped closer. I love you. But I stopped communicating. I let distance grow. Tears filled her eyes again. I worked so hard for us. I know, he said. And I should have fought for us too. She looked away. Counseling starts next week. I'll be there, he promised. Days passed slowly. Claire kept her distance. No messages. No calls. Family group chats only. Formal. Polite. At the first counseling session, Ethan and Emily sat side by side but not touching. The therapist asked simple questions that felt complicated. When did you first feel disconnected? She asked Emily. Emily sighed. When work became everything. And you? She asked Ethan. When I stopped speaking up, he replied. The sessions were uncomfortable. Honest. Necessary. Back at home, small changes began. Phones down at dinner. Walks after work. Real conversations. Not perfect. But real. One evening, Emily said something unexpected. I was scared you'd choose her. He looked at her, surprised. I never did. But you could have, she said. He shook his head. No. I was confused. Not committed to leaving. She studied him for a long moment. Then prove it. And he did. He made effort visible. Transparent schedules. Open phone. Clear boundaries. Meanwhile, Claire focused on her own marriage. She and Richard started spending more time together. Weekend trips. Long talks they had avoided for years. One afternoon, weeks later, the whole family gathered for a small barbecue. The first time since everything happened, the atmosphere felt cautious but not broken. Claire stayed respectful. Warm, but distant. No lingering looks. No private conversations. At one point, she and Ethan found themselves alone near the patio door. Just for a second, she met his eyes calmly. We learned something hard, she said. Yes, he replied, and we survived it, she added. He nodded. Barely. A small, understanding smile passed between them. Not romantic. Not secretive. Just mature acceptance. Emily called them back to the table. As Ethan sat beside his wife, he felt something different this time. Not comparison. Not longing. Clarity. Later that night, Emily rested her head on his shoulder. Do you think we'll be okay? She asked softly. I think we have a real chance, he said. Outside, the evening air felt calm. No storm. No thunder, just quiet, the kind of quiet that no longer felt empty. Ethan understood now that emotional weakness can lead good people into dangerous places. But it can also wake them up. He almost lost everything, Claire almost did too, but instead of letting secret feelings destroy two marriages, they faced them. Admitted them. Ended them. Some lines should never be crossed, and sometimes, the strongest choice isn't following desire, it's choosing commitment when temptation feels easier. The future wasn't perfect, but it was honest, and for the first time in a long while that was enough.